Fasten your chin strap and put your pads on. Get a grip on the bat, here comes a fastball. We ain't going one and done, we're here to last long. This the top of the standards, get ready to blast off. Alright, let's do this. Hut hut! Every Sunday afternoon, big sports fanatics coming out your speakers like a piston running with magic. Game time status good to go is automatic. Ready for the blowouts and the instant classics. Calling all the teachers, all the fathers and the mothers. Calling all the kids, all the sisters and the brothers. Dynamic high schoolers in the game like no other preseason. Game 7s, hey, y'all know we got it covered. From the finals to the Super Bowl to the World Series to the Stanley Cup final. Over here we spit it clearly. Andrew Hale and Jotham Israel coming with the hottest topics. Hey, you know what's up with sports. People wanting it, we got it. Yeah, get in the game. It's the top of the standards, man. Get in the game. It's the top of the standards. Yo, get in the game. It's the top of the standards, man. Get in the game. It's the top of the standards. Come on. Get in the game. It's the top of the standards, man. Get in the game. It's the top of the standards. Yo, get in the game. It's the top of the standards, man. Get in the game. It's the top of the standards. Come on.
Yeah, top of the standards. That's what it's about, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, season 2 is here, baby. Yes, Jotham Israel and Andrew Hale, we're back and better than ever. Yes, we got a ton of sports to talk about, as always. And yes, I can rap. I produced the song, I wrote the lyrics, and I rapped it. That is my voice. Yes, you guys better believe it. But before we get started,
Jotham, is it finally time? Is it finally time that the Chicago Bears get their franchise quarterback in Russell Wilson?
Drew, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, and I know this. I'm going to sound so contradictory, but honestly, I do not want Russell Wilson.
Wow.
I look. Hear me out, okay? Hear me out, okay, Bears fans? I don't want Russell Wilson. Not because I think he's going to be trash, because I still think he is a really, really good quarterback. But at this stage of his career, what he is worth is something that the Bears cannot afford to give up. I think we are better off just trying to shoot our shot with another quarterback in the draft or something, or maybe last thing you want to do is take a year off and say, let's just start some random trash quarterback and tank for the next best Heisman winner next year. I don't want that to happen. I want them to get their guy in the draft, not via trade. We got Carson Wentz off the table. I don't know. They could still be dumb enough to go get Sam Darnold, trade like 3-4 first rounders for him. But Russell Wilson. Now, I definitely did not see this coming, especially when he included the Bears. The Bears of all teams. I could understand the Raiders. I understand the Saints. I could really question the Cowboys if I wanted to, but the Bears, you're fine with coming to Chicago, my God. I mean, you'll just be like Allen Robinson, being a great player, taking a big risk by going to a team that was trash and trying to make it really, really good. Although Allen Robinson is a great receiver, Russell Wilson is a great quarterback, and we had a terrible quarterback and some half decent receivers right now. So I don't know, but I don't know. I mean, if we can find a way to steal Russell Wilson, okay, I'll be happy. If we don't have to trade a first rounder or Khalil Mack, I'm fine. But that's highly unlikely.
From the reports that I saw, I don't know if they're credible or not, but I heard that Russell Wilson wants to revamp the Bears offense to how it was, in the early 2000s. I don't know. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. And I mean, from a Lions fan standpoint, I mean, sure, Bears, go ahead, trade all of your valuable young assets for Russell Wilson. That's fine. Go ahead, do it.
Would you really like that as a Lions fan?
I mean, after you acquire Russell Wilson, what are you gonna have?
Yeah, you're right about that. Well, I mean, my thing is, what could we possibly give the Seahawks let me rephrase that. What do the Seahawks want that they don't have?
Yeah.
Compared to the Bears. I mean, our offensive line might be just as bad. I mean, Maybe if you want Allen Robinson, but he's a free agent. I mean, what are we gonna do? Franchise tag him, sign and trade? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, hey, the Seahawks always have injuries in their running back. So I don't know. Maybe they need a running back. I don't know. Just if the trade happens, go ahead, make it. Lose all of your young core pieces. I don't care.
Okay. Now, the people that I would not even think about trading, obviously Khalil Mack and David Montgomery. Those are the only two players that you are not touching if I was the GM of the Bears. You are not touching Montgomery. You're not touching Mack. Those are the only two players. I might give up anybody if I mean, this is off the top of my head, of course. I'm not a GM right now, but off the top of my head, those are the only two players that I would not give up for Russell Wilson right now.
Hey, that's fair. I mean, those two, Montgomery probably by far. Khalil Mack is, in my opinion, kind of sloped down a little bit since coming to the Bears. I mean, I don't think he has been as dominant as he was his first year with the Bears over these past few years at all. Montgomery, as I saw last year, was a really, really good player. Really good. Probably the Bears standout player, in my opinion, for sure.
Yeah, because I've been trying to tell people David Montgomery is a stud, and all he really needs is a good offensive line. I saw him running the rocket. I believe he went to Iowa State. Dude was a beast. I'm like, and then we got him in the draft. I'm like, oh, we got David Montgomery? Oh, Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen might have to make way. And of course, Jordan Howard got traded, and Tariq Cohen. Tariq Cohen. He's still fast, but he tore his ACL, so it's just like, I don't know. And then we gave him a contract too as soon as he tore his ACL. Ugh. But my only thing about the Bears, they got to draft the quarterback. That is the best thing that I can ask for right now. Just draft a quarterback. Don't trade up and draft somebody.
No, trade up. Lose all of your potential young, players and draft picks. Trade up like maybe 3 firsts for, the first pick, get Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, that's like that.
The only thing that's missing is the 49ers stealing. Yeah. That's the only thing that's missing.
Yeah. Dude, that's what if the Bears trade up and they, ahead of the Lions and they take like the Lions, like, I don't know, Justin Fields, I'm going to be upset.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that would be messed up. Speaking of the Lions, the number one place I want to see Allen Robinson end up is Detroit. That is the number one place I want to see him end up. He goes to Detroit. I think that's a play. I think that might be a playoff-worthy offense.
Well, he's from Michigan. There's a chance.
Yeah, I would love to see that. I mean, I know I'm a Bears fan and all that, but Allen Robinson's got to get out of Chicago, man. This is not. I mean, this is not looking good. It's not looking good. We're literally heading towards a rebuild. Our franchise quarterback turned out to be a fraud, and now we're gonna goose chase for another quarterback, and we just wasted Allen Robinson's 3 years.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of another player who's looking around, J.J. Watt narrowing his list. I don't know. The Bills. I don't know. All right, right now, give me your guess. Who's J.J. Watt gonna go to?
Cleveland. Cleveland is the perfect place.
I agree.
It's the perfect place. I mean, the defensive line. I mean, it's not terrible for Cleveland, but Myles Garrett could definitely, use some help on the other side. Oh my gosh, you got to block J.J. Watt and Myles Garrett. I mean, the Cleveland Browns just got to get another piece in their secondary, maybe a average linebacker, and they're set. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm telling you, I'm calling it, Drew. It's got to be Cleveland. It's got to be Cleveland, man. Please.
I'd loved it. I would love to see it. I mean, him next to Myles Garrett. That would be unstoppable. I would love to see it. Again, in the same division as his brother. Rivals. Oh, that'd be awesome.
That would put a stamp on the end of the Steelers' reign of the AFC North. That would put an emphatic stamp to it.
It would. I don't know. I'm looking forward to this free agency carousel.
Oh yeah, and then the draft's coming up in 2 months. Oh my gosh, we are lit.
Yeah.
Okay, buddy. I'm actually watching Villanova versus Butler as we are recording right now, and Butler is currently beating Villanova, which is a very ironic theme and it pretty much sums up this whole college basketball season. I mean, there's been upsets left and right, and this week has been, nothing short. I want to start. Did you see Oklahoma State and Oklahoma? Bedlam on the hardwood.
I did not watch the game, but you know who I did keep my eye on?
Of course.
Mr. 40 points. Cade Cunningham. Fade for Cade. Pistons. Let's go.
Fade for Cade. Oh my goodness. More like drive for Cade, because that dude was making an impact in the paint, on the perimeter, getting steals. Dude was just clutch. That was just clutch. I mean, I almost hate the fact that Oklahoma State, I think they had a postseason ban. I think we talked about this in the summer, because Cade, he had a decision to make. Okay, since Oklahoma State isn't gonna, I think they got a postseason ban, and he had a choice to transfer, go to G League overseas, blah blah blah, or stay at Oklahoma State. He stayed at Oklahoma State, and man, that's a big win for that Cowboys program, man. I'm hyped. I love seeing these college basketball programs that are either better known as football programs or not really known for anything, just stepping up out of nowhere and making a name for themselves. It's crazy. It's college basketball, man.
Yeah, I agree. I love to see it as well. But you know what else I love to see? You see the colors behind me. Back-to-back wins. Back-to-back wins over top 5 opponents in the matter of 48 hours. Has that even happened before? An unranked team beating top 5 opponents in back-to-back games, 48 hours. As an unranked team. That's insane. And it's over Ohio State and Illinois. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I was watching, both of those games. Like, is Michigan State really about to pull this off? And I mean, not that it's like shocking or anything, but it's just like, some of these blue bloods just needed time, just needed some time to really, get their heads back in the game. And I think that COVID break, I won't say it absolutely benefited Michigan State, because they came out of the gate slow afterwards. But you know what? This team has a chance, man. They have a chance. It's realistic. I mean, they got those 2 wins over those 2 teams. Look, you got 4 games left. You beat Michigan. I think that's a pretty good, statement there. But obviously, we're not there yet. We got a couple more games before that. Don't you guys play Maryland?
Today. Indiana? Today, Maryland. Next game, Indiana, and then back-to-back Michigan.
Oh, man, that's going to be crucial.
Yeah, it is. Today, they need to win. But I saw a crazy stat. I believe Tom Izzo in the last week of February only has 1 loss in his entire career at coaching at Michigan State. Only 1 loss in the last week of February as a coach.
Oh, really?
Hey, that you said teams just need time? Well, every single year, this is Michigan State's time. They always kind of, I wouldn't say kind of start off slow, but they aren't as good as they are towards the end of the season. Now it's time. I mean, I wasn't too surprised that they beat Illinois. I wasn't too surprised that they beat Ohio State. I knew that they were going to go into both of those games pretty motivated, especially coming back from that big or kind of upset. I would say they upsetted Indiana, but they came back from a large deficit. They won that. That was one of the best wins of the season, just for morale. But then the 2 biggest wins that could definitely help their postseason bid were the wins over Ohio State and Illinois. Those were both fantastic games. Aaron Henry stepped up finally, and I mean Joshua Langford finally 5 years. This is his time. I mean, he's always been a good player. It's crazy he came into a class filled with Miles Bridges, Cassius Winston, Nick Ward. That's crazy. That's crazy that he's still here. He's literally played with Miles Bridges, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Cassius Winston. All of those players are now in the league. It's crazy.
Yeah, you just love to see it. I mean, imagine, because doesn't the NCAA allow seniors to have like a 6th year of eligibility?
Yeah, if they get hurt, yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude! Imagine if he comes back. I'm like, I'll be like, this man is a Spartan. This dude is a lifelong Spartan for good.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Did you see his stat line in the game against Indiana?
I actually did not,
bro. I think he had around don't quote me on it. I believe it was around like 14 points, but he had over 15 rebounds. He had a few blocks, a few steals, a lot of assists. He almost was going for a quadruple double.
Oh my goodness. Hey, see? I mean, time. I'm telling you, man, it's time with these blue bloods, man. Speaking of the blue bloods, I was ready to come in here like, Drew. Looks like Duke is trying to make a stab at you with those I hope Duke doesn't make it comments, but Louisville helped you out.
Yes.
Your hometown, one of your former hometown team.
Yes.
Ish.
Thank you, Louisville. I've always liked you better than Kentucky anyway, so that really helped. Yes, Louisville helped out. I mean, it's crazy because that Duke win looked so good at the time, and now it just the only 2 wins that really make Michigan State look good are the last 2 wins, in my opinion, all season. So, I mean, Duke losing isn't, it's a good thing in terms of, tournament bid. But, hey, I'm glad Louisville beat them. But also, we had a pretty crazy upset. I wouldn't even call it an upset, but, Baylor, their time has finally come.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it coming eventually.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, all that COVID drama that they had, especially early on in the season, and then it kept reoccurring. I'm like, Baylor activities on pause. I'm like, dang, these guys are always going on COVID breaks. And I mean, Kansas, at Allen Fieldhouse in the fog. I mean, that was basically the place to lose.
Yeah.
For Baylor. Not even just in terms of history. We know they have a bad history there outside of their 1 win last year. But man, yeah, they did not look good. I'm watching this game. I'm like, bro, Kansas is bodying Baylor on the glass. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm surprised. I honestly don't know too much about Baylor. I know that they've been a very good team for the past 3 years, but I mean, it's really tough to go undefeated, especially in these big conferences. Obviously, for Gonzaga, I don't think there's any reason they shouldn't go undefeated year in and year out. But sometimes, they lose, and not badly, but they lose sometimes. But Baylor, they had a good run, 18-0. That's not too bad.
Yeah, and you still got the Big 12 tournament ahead of you. I mean, winning that many games in a row in that conference against that competition, that's still something to marvel at. But you mentioned Gonzaga. Dude, I saw a stat. I think they're the first AP number one team to win 21 straight games by double digits. Whoa. Holy smokes. I mean, we know Gonzaga's in a relatively weaker conference compared to the Power Fives and the majors and stuff like that. But that's still pretty dominant, and they look pretty good. I can't wait to see them, against the creams of the crops.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm excited. That's another reason why I'm excited. I really want to see Gonzaga break through and say, you know what, just because we're in the West Coast Conference doesn't mean we can't win a national championship. I'm just waiting to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to see them win. With March Madness, I just want to see them win. They've never done it before. They were so close against North Carolina at the end of the year. Maybe this is the year. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. I hope it is, though.
Yeah. Speaking of their year in a few years back, I know you remember Loyola Chicago went on that run, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, they're taking steps closer. I believe they just won at least a share of the Missouri Valley Conference last night against Southern Illinois, which is actually a pretty good game. I was watching. I was like, this is a pretty entertaining game. But, yeah, the Ramblers are at it again, man.
Hey, I like Loyola Chicago. I mean, their run a few years ago was unforgettable. I mean, that was just fantastic. I'm rooting for them as always. I hope they do something. I wouldn't be mad if watch them be the ones to beat Gonzaga in the national championship. That would be crazy.
You know what? I'm calling it right now. Loyola versus Michigan, Sweet 16.
Oh my gosh!
Ramblers beat the Wolverines.
Payback.
I'm calling it.
You know what I need? I need UMBC Michigan first round.
Yeah, that 16 seed magic.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's. I
Ooh,
mean,
Michigan
this
State, Michigan, 16 seed versus 1.
no way. Do you think you'll have to play a playing game against
Probably
Duke?
not. I hope not. But hey, if that were to happen, I'd take it.
Yeah, I mean, to say you won a game in March Madness means a lot. So, but yeah, that I mean, this is insane. I mean, I'm so glad I'm talking about this again. This thing, I feel like everybody has like a nasty feeling in their gut after what happened last year, and just that we can start getting excited about Champ Week and talking about the brackets and Lunardi going crazy with the freaking seeds, and which I don't know how you project seeds like that. That's insane, but yeah, dude, I'm stoked. This is awesome. And then Oklahoma and Oklahoma State go at it again on Monday. Oh my gosh. Illinois versus Michigan. Oh my gosh. Dude, this is nice. And you know what? It's funny because I think Duke and North Carolina go at it again this weekend. As they usually do in the last week of the regular season.
Oh,
And
how
nobody
fun. How fun.
Oh my gosh, and nobody is talking about that. Nobody. The only reason that you were talking about it is, you know what? This could be a win that could boost the Tar Heels resume or the Blue Devils resume. This is a must-win game for them to stay in the bubble, which is something that I'm not used to, talking about when it comes to Duke and North Carolina. Whew.
Gross. Every single year, I mean, sometimes I will tune in, but other times it's just pretty boring. Like this year. I mean, I don't care.
I feel like I'm getting a better grip on college prospects in college basketball because I have a better grip on what's going on in the NBA, and I'm trying to see who's going to become the next stud for an NBA squad, who can become a franchise guy, a cornerstone, this and that, who's just a role player, this and that. I feel better about seeing, okay, so this dude was a beast in college, and I think the prime example for me is Cade Cunningham,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him in the black and blue. No, I'm just playing. Hopefully he'll be in the blue and red. But yeah, I'm excited to see if Cade is the real deal, and if these number one prospects, if these top rated prospects are the real deal, because it just seemingly for me, it's like they come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like they are 1 year they're in high school, another they're in college, then the next year they're in the NBA.
Exactly. I mean, the only players I could really tell you that I've been following since high school is probably LaMelo Ball, Lonzo Ball, LiAngelo Ball, and Zion Williamson. I was watching their highlights when they were in high school, looking at them or two of them in the league. Actually, three. The Pistons did have LiAngelo for a little bit, but all four of those players. It takes a rare talent for them to be noticeable from high school all the way until they get to the league. Obviously, Kobe, LeBron, any player who comes out of high school. Nonetheless, I think, like you said, it's pretty clear when someone's a good basketball player and they have a chance to take the NBA by storm. But what about Mobley on USC? I mean, I've seen a lot of people say he might go number 2, a center. I don't know too much about him.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know too much about him either. I mean, I haven't had time to watch too many USC games. For one, they're not too highly nationally televised. And I mean, it's the Pac-12. I mean, the Pac-12 isn't that strong of a conference compared to its counterparts in the Power Five and stuff like that. But I mean, I'll pay attention. I'll see what the kids got in the Pac-12 tournament, because obviously, tournament time, Champ Week, that's when they really start getting it going. I'm just like, oh, I'll be like, okay, this Evan Mobley kid, let me see what he's made of.
Yeah.
You know what? Since we were talking about so much in the NBA, that was a perfect lead in. I want to talk about the Dallas Mavericks, because seeing how they beat the Nets last night efficiently, dude, I will be so sad if this team is not a playoff team. I will legitimately be sad.
And it's crazy because I've heard reports that they're looking to ship Kristaps Porzingis. I don't know. Is he going to be gone? I don't know. I do think that they need another perimeter shooter next to Luka, because they lost a good player in Seth Curry. I mean, as I would say, as unnotable Seth Curry is. I mean, he played a big role in that Mavericks lineup. I mean, I think they need some more stuff. I can't see Luka going night in and night out, scoring 40 points and helping them win every single night. They need some help. Kristaps, obviously, good player, but ever since getting traded from New York to Dallas, he hasn't been, I mean, fantastic. Like, he's been good. He has had some really good games, but he's definitely not the player he was in New York, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing is he just can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
He just can't stay healthy. I mean, last postseason, he just randomly has an injury that sits him out for the rest of the playoffs. I'm just like, where did this come from? And I mean, that messed me up. But I mean, that just makes Luka that much more great. That game 4, I will never forget that game 4. I was going so stupid after he hit that 3. Oh my gosh, that's one of those shots that you just see through your eyes live, and you'll just never forget it.
Oh, yeah.
I know you have many of those moments, but for me, that was one of my main moments, because seeing Luka hit that shot. Oh my gosh, Luka's hit some crazy shots in this league at such a young age, man.
Yeah, he has, and that clip that you're mentioning is the clip that you guys see every single time you click on a YouTube video. So, Luka, he kind of resembles top of the standings a little bit. I don't know.
A double bang.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm waiting for the day that Mike Breen does a triple bang.
What player do you think he'd do that for? I'm gonna guess, if there were one player to do it, I'm going to say Damian Lillard.
Yeah, I think Damian Lillard would be the perfect guy, but it'd have to be like a crazy scenario, like maybe a finals winning shot instead of a first round ending shot. Yeah. I mean, it might take like a game 7 down by 2, buzzer beating 3-pointer to win the finals. Bang, bang, bang. I mean, I think he's got to, I think sportscasters, they got to, I think, I would love to see them acknowledge their, catchphrases more. Their, what makes them more, like Mike Breen's bang, Gus Johnson's just insane energy. I mean, I think, what's his name? Kevin Harlan. Yeah. Cord. Because people think he says cord instead of good. And I'm just like, wait, what? I never thought he, was saying cord. I'm like, yeah, and I looked up the whole YouTube compilation. I'm like, are you serious? This is an actual debate.
Yeah, I haven't heard much about that, but I know that Mike Breen, he has had a lot of calls in the Madison Square Garden, but this year another team has taken the Madison Square Garden by storm. The Knicks are currently, I believe, in the 4th spot in the Eastern Conference, which is insane.
Yeah, they're tied for 4th with the Toronto Raptors at 17. This is how I was about to say the Weaster Conference, but you know what? That might be what I call it, the Weakster Conference, because the East is literally so weak from the 3 spot down that a team at 500 is the 4th seed.
I mean, it's actually crazy. I mean, and hey, the Celtics, as of a few nights ago, they were out of the playoffs, so that's insane as well.
Ew. Look, bro, it's been so sad to see Kemba Walker's regression. Real talk. It's been so sad seeing his regression, because he used to be like, I thought he was cold in Charlotte. I thought he was somewhat, I don't know, underrated-ish.
Yeah. But,
still giving his props when he does something. And then he goes to Boston. I'm like, oh, man, they about to be the next big 3 in Boston. It's about to be Tatum, Brown, and Walker. And then Kyrie and Gordon Hayward came along and this and that. Yeah. I don't know what's going on with the Boston Celtics right now, but, I mean, hey, I don't mind them. I don't mind them, maintaining this state of mediocrity. You know what I'm saying? Get teams like the Pacers and the Hornets and the Hawks some chances. Let's see them.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Who do you think the Celtics' last best point guard was? Who was the best point guard for the Celtics last, in your opinion? I got my answer.
I want to say Isaiah Thomas
That's
because
what I was gonna say.
yeah. I mean, it was between him and Rondo because
Okay, yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I mean, I don't. When you think of Boston, you don't think of point guards, really. You
No.
really don't think of point guards. I mean,
and the two stars that they've gotten have been really, really good.
yeah, and they're forwards. I mean, I don't know about the Celtics, but you know what? You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if in the next few years, Jason Tatum and or Jaylen Brown become so frustrated with the organization's mediocrity that they try to get out of Boston. Because you've seen the NBA over the past few years with this unexpected, I want to get out of this place because you guys suck. I mean, not even just the NBA, but all around the sports world.
Yeah.
But it starts with the NBA. We've seen some things over the past few years. We've seen it with, Kevin Durant, OKC, like, we can't get back to the finals. I got to leave. And we've seen it all over the place, dude.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it is understandable. It is 100%. I definitely understand where the players are coming from. And it's crazy to think that you kind of mentioned Houston because in a matter of a few weeks, Deshaun Watson, J.J. Watt, George Springer, and James Harden all left or are going to leave Houston. That is insane.
Poor man.
That is insane.
Poor Houston.
It's insane, dude. I like you said, you're not allowed to be bad in sports apparently, without a player being like, "Nah, I don't want to be here anymore." Which is again, it's understandable, but it's something new, honestly, because back then we see teams or players on terrible teams. I wouldn't say terrible, but like Charles Barkley, he never got a ring. He played for a pretty decent Phoenix Suns team, never got a ring, but he never also requested a trade, So there have been players who have gone ringless, who have, stayed consistent on their teams.
Oh yeah. And that's why so many people respect Damian Lillard because he has every right. He basically has every reason on the planet in this generation of the NBA to say, you know what, trade me to the Lakers, trade me to the Clippers, trade me to the Sixers or the Nets or the Bucks or something like that. But you know what? He stays the course, and he is basically the most loyal player in the NBA. In terms of wanting to stay with a franchise long term, no matter what, trying to bring a championship to that city. Because of the challenge and the rigor ahead of it in this generation of the NBA, Damian Lillard knows that he has to step it up, and he knows that he's gonna have to elevate whatever teammates he has. And you know what? I think he does his best year in and year out. He just needs the right players around him. But yeah, I mean that's this generation of the NBA. It's insanity. It's half free agency mayhem, half I don't know what to say, East versus West.
Yeah, and speaking about East versus West, I want to know your thoughts on the All-Star game. We finally got our rosters, and I just want to say I don't think that fan votes should come into consideration because in the end, what do the fans know, in my opinion? Like, I feel like obviously it's subjective. Obviously, players are going to pick their favorite players. Like, year in and year out, you see on the brackets of the initial picks, and you see players like Klay Thompson in the top 5 who hasn't played one game. How is that fair? How is that fair to a player like, I don't know, Jordan Clarkson, Devin Booker, exactly. Those two players have been going off all season, and then fans decide to take Klay Thompson. Oh, he's so good. He hasn't played one game. He's been hurt the past 2 years. It makes no sense. And you see like players like Taco Fall in the top 10, Caruso.
This is basically a fan favorite game and not ridiculous. The best players in the league game.
And that's how it is with almost every award. Because if you think about it, the MVP. If the MVP was given to the best player year in and year out, LeBron would have won the past 10 years. Think about it. I mean, Giannis had the best season, but isn't it for the most valuable player? Who's been the most valuable player the past 20 years?
LeBron James.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, you take him out of the roster, that is not a playoff team. Look at what happens to the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Miami Heat. Soon as LeBron left Miami, well, you know what? I won't say as soon as he left Miami because they still had Dwayne Wade and stuff like that. But as soon as Dwayne Wade started to regress and the big three was absolutely out of Miami, they were below mediocre.
Yep.
While LeBron was in Cleveland, taking them to the finals year in and year out. And then when he left Cleveland, man.
And you see what he's done with the Lakers in 2 years. 2 years. That's all it took.
Exactly. As soon as LeBron left Cleveland again for LA, that city belongs to Baker Mayfield right now.
Yeah.
That city belongs to Baker.
Yeah.
Let's get that straight. I got respect for Darius Garland and Colin Sexton, but they're not there yet. Baker is the Cleveland guy right now. Okay,
100%.
Can we agree on that?
100%. I mean, I just think awards in general, they make no sense in the end, and especially with All-Star voting. I mean, the fans, they obviously you're going to have some intelligent fans, but for the most part, you're not in the locker room day in and day out. You're not actually seeing what these players go through. You're not actually saying who's the best on the court, who's the most valuable, So that's why I think fan voting for the All-Star game is a little iffy because not even iffy. I know why they do it, but I don't think it should take that much weight over, other players and, media votes, in my opinion. Because you look at Jeremy Grant, who in my opinion got snubbed. From a fan's perspective, I believe he got snubbed. He's been one of the best players, definitely most improved player in my opinion. And then he doesn't get in. I mean, if you say one player snubbed, then you have to say who the player who did make it, who shouldn't be in there. And I think every single player who made the All-Star game should be an All-Star. It's just unfortunate that there have been so many good players that not all of them can compete in this game. I don't know. I just think fan voting it shouldn't hold that much weight.
Yeah, and it sucks because sometimes it takes injuries to get the right guys in. Like, didn't it take Anthony Davis's injury to get Devin Booker in? Like, that doesn't make sense. Devin Booker, I'm telling you, man, it's markets. It's got to be the markets.
Yeah.
It's got to be the franchises that these guys play for because I understand the Phoenix Suns are not as popular as the Los Angeles Lakers and not as historic and stuff like that. But come on, man. A great player is a great player.
And then you get the argument like, oh, he shouldn't be in the All-Star game because his team is below 500. What did Trae Young do last year? Huh? Like, this is stupid. I don't think the fans don't know anything, in my opinion. They don't. It's just they don't.
Yeah, and then if that's the case, then what should we think about Zion making the All-Star game? Pelicans are 14-19.
I know, right?
I'm not saying Zion's bad, but
no, he's been great this year. But again, I don't know. I just think the All-Star game is unfair a little bit. I don't think there should be fan voting. I don't think it should be holding that much weight. I don't know. I think some restructuring needs to be done to ensure, the most deserving gets in. And you mentioned injuries. KD's out for the All-Star game. They finally get in Sabonis, who's obviously been pretty good. And then, obviously, Jason Tatum moving up to the starting lineup. It's crazy. I don't know. I don't know what to think.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's frustrating. That's all. I mean, just at least we got the standings and the mayhem of just looking at the standings every single night and seeing that, teams that are so low, in the middle of the pack of the standings can jump up to like 4 or 5 in a matter of 2-3 games. It's insane. I mean, literally, this Eastern Conference is airtight. This Western Conference, look, let this sink in, Andrew, because we have a new playoff format this year where they have like a play-in round for seeds 10 through 7. I want to read this off to you. So the Chicago Bulls are currently at the 8th spot, tied at the 8th spot with the Pacers and the Hornets at 15-17. The worst playoff-worthy team in the West right now is the Memphis Grizzlies, and they're 14-15. One game, below 500. So, dude, the Western Conference is insanely competitive as usual. And literally, dude, if you're bad in the West, then you could easily make the Eastern Conference playoffs. That's insane.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I don't know. It's crazy. I think the East is terrible. I mean, look at the Bucks. They're supposed to be undefeated right now, aren't they? They lost 5 straight the other week.
Dude, I don't know about the Bucks anymore, man. I mean, we talk about them a lot and how Giannis and this and that and the pressure and this and that. I just don't know what's the problem. I don't know.
I don't either.
But it is what it is. But I'm glad to see, I see the Sixers and the Nets doing good. I see the Raptors get out of that little funk, that early season funk that they had.
Yeah.
Yeah, so far. I mean, they're still 500. You still got a long way to go. But still, it's good to be in the playoff hunt. I mean, the fact that we're even talking about Bulls and playoff contention is insane. And obviously, it wouldn't be that if it weren't for Zach LaVine. But dude, still.
Exactly. Hey, I mean, the Bulls are good, but Zach LaVine is even better almost.
Whew. Yeah, he's keeping it. He's keeping that whole franchise afloat. Oh, I probably should have kept my jersey in my closet because the Hurricanes, after beating them last Saturday, go ahead and lose 3 straight to the Lightning.
Hey, yes. Now you can feel my pain. You can feel my pain. You can understand how it feels to just absolutely night in, night out, season in, season out, get absolutely destroyed by the Lightning. It's annoying. It's terrible. It's a terrible feeling. That's why the Lightning are one of my least favorite teams. Probably number 2. But number 1, Red Wings. Yes, we finally beat the Blackhawks. We've scored 5 goals in back-to-back games. And we finally broke the streak of games without a power play goal. Guess how many games it took to get a power play goal, or how many times we didn't score on the power play straight.
Well, this is the first time you're bringing this up to me. I'm assuming that this goes beyond this season.
Actually, no. They scored that. Let me tell you, their last goal on the power play was January 29th, almost a month ago, right? So guess how many power plays in between them they didn't score.
Is it somewhere in the 60s?
40 exactly. 40 times, 40 straight power plays, and they couldn't score a goal until last night. So the streak is broken.
40 straight power plays?
Yeah, and dating back to January 26th, they're 1 for 49.
Oh my gosh, dude! And obviously the season started January 4th. Dang, dude, that's
terrible. It's terrible.
Jeez. Well, I mean, I saw, like, I think I was watching another hockey game last night, and I saw on the ticker that Red Wings Blackhawks was still on. I'm like, let me see if this game is still on. And then I see that the Red Wings had already won 5-3. I'm like, oh, they beat the Blackhawks. What? They finally beat the Blackhawks. I'm like, okay, it's a good win.
Yeah. Hey, I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Obviously, it's always fun when you beat your rival, but the Red Wings still bad. The Florida Panthers, that's crazy. They're number 1. It is. It's crazy.
Hey, as long as Tampa Bay is not number 1, I'm fine.
There you go. We're teaming up on hating Tampa Bay, and I like it.
Whoa.
No. Let's keep it at that.
No. I can't even say hate because your level of hate for the Lightning is far greater than mine.
Oh sure.
Far.
That's to be expected. We lost them in like 3 straight playoff appearances.
Touché. But yeah, go Panthers, go Canes. I don't know, man. Because there is a great chance that we could possibly see a Blackhawks Lightning playoff series. There's a decent chance of that.
Yeah.
Who do you root for? You personally. I mean, I'm just rooting for a good series in that one because I don't really heavily dislike both teams. But for you, who do you root for if that series were to happen?
I don't even know.
Because somebody's gonna win. Somebody's gonna lose.
Whoever wins, Just whoever wins, fine. I don't care at this point. As long as the Red Wings are back in the playoffs, that's all I care about. That's the only team I'm gonna root for heavy. So that is my answer. If the Red Wings somehow, they're not. Believe me, they're not gonna make the playoffs. But when they do, that's the only team I'm gonna root for. Honestly, I don't care about any other playoff team, as maybe the Golden Knights, but other than that, whoever's playing, I'm like, whoever wins wins, unless it's the Lightning or the Blackhawks.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that Canes Wings rematch.
Yeah.
I'm really curious.
Yeah, I forgot to bring it up, but when we talked about the Canes Wings Stanley Cup the other week, my dad was telling me, he was like, "Oh, you forgot to mention the most important part about that series." He said there was literally no chance that the Canes were going to win that because guess how many Hall of Famers were on that Red Wings team?
Oh, right, they had a record. Like, what was it? What was it? Double digits?
I think it was 9.
Dang. Yeah, 9 Hall of Famers or something like that. I remember you telling me about that like way back in the summer.
So you shouldn't be mad at that. There's literally no chance you guys are going to win that.
I mean, it was a dynasty at that point. Then you guys like you guys were winning the Western Conference like year in, year out, every other year or something like that. It was just like, dang, like I look back on my NHL games and look back at past champions, and when I try to take control of a franchise that hasn't won a Stanley Cup, I see the Red Wings dominated the 90s and the early 2000s. I'm like, jeez.
11.
Don't even have enough fingers.
Nope, don't even have enough. That's why I was holding up my big toe.
What? Okay. Oh my gosh. But you know what? I'm also happy because, look, can we both agree that we really don't care about the Eastern Division? Like,
yeah. I mean, I don't. Yeah, you're right. Every team in the Metropolitan is, in my opinion, just. I mean, I kind of like, obviously the Devils. Sure, I like the Devils, but
and the Sabres.
Sabres, yeah. Flyers. Other than that, no, I couldn't care less.
I mean, the Caps, Bruins, we already know that story. Islanders,
yeah.
Penguins, you already know that story. Rangers, they're New York.
Pretty boring.
But it's just like that division is just. I mean, they put up some decent games, but it's just like, like the Bruins are murdering the Rangers right now. It's like 3-0 in the second or something. It's like, Yeah. I don't care about the East. I mean, until the playoffs come and I see an Eastern Conference bloodbath or something like that. I really am not that interested in this division because there are other divisions in the NHL that are far more competitive. I want to talk about the West because we seem to be talking about new contenders week in, week out. We talked about the LA Kings last week, I believe. Dude, how about the Minnesota Wild going up to second place?
Yeah, are they finally going to be able to do anything in the playoffs? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. It's kind of weird because I don't know. I could probably name one player on the Wild. One player.
I can't. I'm going to be honest with you. I can't name one player. I don't think I've ever watched the Minnesota Wild on. Maybe I think I may have watched that little preliminary round against the Canucks last post.
Bro, it's not often you hear someone say, "Hey, yo, turn on that Minnesota Wild game." I've never heard that. No offense to the Wild, but it's you're like hidden almost.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too much attention that you have really earned. I would love for you to get that attention, but
sure.
I mean, maybe they might have to do some schedule flexing because, I mean, they're better than the Avalanche and the Blues.
That's crazy.
That is startling to me. I would have never guessed that. Dude, I'm actually going to be disappointed if the Avalanche finds some crazy way to miss the playoffs.
I hope they miss the playoffs. Not an Avalanche fan. But they're good. I know they're good. I do think that they are probably, from what I've seen, one of probably top 3 in the NHL. Their offense is insane. It's very, very tough to stop. I know they're good. They should make the playoffs. If they missed it, like you said, it'd be pretty shocking.
Yeah, I don't even know anymore. I mean, the Western Division, that's one wacky division right there. I mean, I thought it was just going to be Vegas, St. Louis, Colorado, and insert some random contender. But the Kings and the Wild are making it real interesting, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, I agree.
Speaking of playoffs, your time has come. You have earned the praise of predicting the possible downfall of those Montreal Canadiens. Pinpoint precision, might I add. They fired their head coach. I did not see that coming, Drew.
You forgot to segue more into our weekly update of the Montreal Canadiens, because that's what it has come to. Hey, I told you. I mean, I don't think anyone should be surprised. I've seen this my entire life. The Canadiens start up so high, royalty almost, and then they go all the way down to the bottom. Well, no, they don't go all the way to the bottom. That's the Red Wings' home. But they definitely go down a few flights of stairs.
Yeah, they've lost 5 in a row. Oh, dude. How does this happen year after year? I'm not even a Canadiens fan. I mean, I don't hate the Canadiens. I don't love them, but I mean, I need to become a little more acclimated with, how they roll. But dude, are you serious? How does it even feel to be a Canadiens fan during all this bull crap, man? That's crazy.
It's normal. It's normal. Whatever normal in French is, then whatever that is, However you say normal in French, that's what it is.
Oh, jeez.
Bonjour.
I mean, hey, at least if I don't get the Canadiens, then the Flames are next in line. And if the Oilers keep doing what they're doing, hopefully, I don't know how the alignment's going to go, but hopefully if it's 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3, I hope Edmonton surpasses the Maple Leafs for that one spot in the Calgary Flames sneak in so I can get my Oilers. I'm telling you, dude, I will say this week after week in and week out. I want my Oilers Flames. I want my Oilers Flames playoff series.
So that should be the segment in the NHL section. It should be our weekly update of the Montreal Canadiens and our weekly
wishes.
Wishes, yeah.
Yeah, dude. Look, I'm so glad I got into this league, man. Oh my gosh, dude. I'm literally going to try to I'm definitely gonna buy NHL 22 next year because I need to see that Seattle crack. I need to get that cracking in, dude. Oh my gosh, it's like that's such an underrated storyline this year. We almost forgot that the Seattle Kraken were on their way to becoming a real thing.
Yeah,
a real thing.
That's kind of how it is when an expansion team comes into the league. Everyone forgets about them until they're here, and then they go to the Stanley Cup in their inaugural season.
Oh my gosh! If Seattle does that, it's lit.
Yeah. Hey, you gotta beware. Maybe they'll take Sebastian Aho in their expansion draft. No, I'm kidding. I guarantee he'll be one of the players who are untouchable.
Okay, Drew. Let's get into our MVPs and LVPs. Who is your MVP?
My MVP, Michigan State basketball. It has to be. It's only right. I mean, an unranked team who's, I wouldn't say struggled, but they've gone through a lot this season. They finally get to meet a top 5 ranked team in Illinois, beat them 48 hours, beat another top 5 ranked team in Ohio State, beat them in a matter of 48 hours as an unranked team. That's just impressive. Really good 2 wins right there.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. Yeah, those 2 wins. Yeah, that's Big Ten in a nutshell.
Yeah,
that's Big Ten in a nutshell. Yeah. I like it though. I'm here for it.
Oh yeah.
Can't wait to see them in the tourney. Yeah, if they make a run.
Hey, you never know.
Not with this conference. But my MVP goes to the MLB, and I know this. I know you're thinking, wait, what? Why? Because for 2 reasons. One, they're starting to recognize their, core issues outside of baseball. We all know that there was one guy on one particular team, this Mariners team, that did some stupid stuff and got booted for it. But you know what? There's a bright side to it because now we're bringing the idiotic stuff into light, and now we're getting rid of it. So now Mariners fans don't have to deal with dumb stuff right now. They can focus on trying to make things better and, creating a better environment around them. And I have to give MLB props for that, especially coming from a Mariners fan. I mean, I would be embarrassed if I was, the GM or the owner. I mean, that's
sure.
That's stupid. But you know what? The other reason why I'm giving the MLB the MVP is because just for the simple fact that spring training is back. Because last year, yeah, those guys are back in action.
Yeah.
I believe they're playing right now.
Yep, they are Phillies.
Yeah, dude, the fact that we get baseball back in its normal time slots. Because last year we definitely felt the impact of not having it during the spring and during the early summer, dude. It was like, yo, what the heck am I gonna do? I have no baseball games to watch.
No. Hey, and it's always nice watching, some mid-afternoon baseball. Hey, I enjoy watching it. I mean, whether my team is playing or not, it's, almost good background noise,
Oh yeah, definitely. And then just getting back in action, man. Oh my gosh. Just props to the MLB for properly coming back, for just coming back. That's why I give them the MVP right now, because the simple fact that they're back in action and we can see baseball in some form again. I don't care if it's the preseason. I don't care if it's spring training. Just get me baseball back and I'm fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think this year they'll be able to have a normal season. Obviously, last year it was right around the time COVID, happened. So they didn't know how to approach it. They didn't know how to, go by, starting a season. So this year I think everyone is prepared and, is taking the proper precautions. And I think this year will go a lot better as long as, the Cardinals and the Marlins stay out of those casinos.
Yeah, I don't anticipate seeing any headlines about casinos anytime soon.
Hopefully not.
All right, let's get into our LVPs. Who is your LVP though?
So I've been going on a streak of picking some unknown names. I mean, if you're an MMA fan and you watch the UFC, you'll probably know who this is. Last night it was a heavyweight bout in the main event between Cyril Gane and Jairzinho Rozenstruik, right? And Jairzinho Rozenstruik, he is the number 4 ranked contender in the heavyweight division, so he's up there. He's one of the best. Coming into the fight, he was 11-1. So again, I don't think he was favored. I could be wrong, but he was going up against Cyril Gane, a Frenchman who was currently 7-0. All right, so it's a pretty good fight. He's the number 7 contender in that UFC heavyweight division, and when you see 2 heavyweights in a main event, you're like, oh, this is about to go down. Someone's about to get knocked out. Well, Rozenstruik, it was far from that. No one got knocked down, and the fact of the matter is, Rozenstruik, the number 4th contender, I had big expectations. A big dude. I thought he was going to get a knockout. Let me tell you, he only threw 49 strikes. 42 significant strikes. So he hardly even did anything. Essentially, all he did was defend himself and walk around the octagon. He did absolutely nothing for a fighter who was 11-1, walked around the entire octagon and literally threw nothing, just defended himself. So boring. And as you can tell, as I'm leading into it, Gane ultimately stayed undefeated, got his 8th win. And it was by a big decision. It was in the main event in the UFC, 5 rounds, 5 minute each. So the final scorecards were 50-45, and that was such a lopsided win. It was clear who won. Rozenstruik did absolutely nothing. Very, very boring. Very disappointed in Rozenstruik. I mean, you're 11-1, and you do absolutely nothing. I mean, I guarantee he was in there trying not to get knocked out. That was his main goal. He knew he wasn't going to win. He was just trying not to get finished.
And this was the 4th ranked contender.
Yep. In the heavyweight division.
Do you know if the other guy, his opponent, was any type of rankings or anything?
7. So it was a big fight.
Okay. That's an L. That is an L.
It is. It was incredibly boring.
Yikes. Okay. Well, my LVP. This is actually stepping into multiple realms
Okay.
because I'm stepping into the world of politics a little bit
All right.
with my LVP. My LVP for this week is Kelly Loeffler,
Hmm.
the co-owner of the former co-owner of the Atlanta Dream, the WNBA team, and a former senator for the United States. I have to give her this LVP because she took two colossal L's in the last 2 months. The first L, obviously, we all pretty much know. If you're an American citizen, you already know about the story of the Georgia Senate runoffs and how she lost to Raphael Warnock. And that ended up giving the Democrats the control of the Senate, yada yada, this and that. But you know what? You know what really is a big reason why she lost that election, why she lost that runoff? She went ahead and said something to the NBA about their, social injustice initiatives, saying that she didn't really like it or something, literally writing a letter to the commissioner, the WNBA commissioner, about how she doesn't really like it. And I'm like, you do understand that your league is predominantly, leaning towards the Democratic side, like that's like walking into a let's say Joe Louis Arena, and you're a let's see, what team do the Red Wings really hate?
Blackhawks.
Let's say the Blackhawks. That's like walking in with a Blackhawks jersey in Joe Louis Arena saying, "Red Wings suck. They suck." And you just get absolutely blasted by all the Red Wing fans around you. That's basically what she did. Literally, everybody is thinking more Democratic in the WNBA, bro. It's predominantly, more Democratic-ish. So why would you say something if you know that you should know that was going to, instantly get you into some trouble? Like, especially, if you're in that position.
Yeah.
So that's the first L. That's the first avalanche, the first snowball on this L. Because then the players started wearing Vote Warnock t-shirts at warm-ups. You were basically promoting her opponent in the Senate runoff. I was like, dang, that is super tough. Then she went ahead and lost the Senate runoff. Then just past week, she sold her share and she is no longer a part of a team. Andrew, imagine co-owning a professional basketball team and being a U.S. senator at the same time. That sounds pretty dope, right?
Yeah. How quick things change.
And she lost it all in 2 months. I won't say all because obviously she's, still, she still got a life, obviously. But dang, those are some big L's, man. You lost a seat in the Senate. You took L's in sports and you took L's in politics. That is one colossal L, and that is why Kelly Loeffler is my LVP.
Hey, that makes sense. That makes sense.
My most unique LVP yet,
Definitely.
and deservingly so.
Definitely.
There wasn't a lot of L's that a lot of people took in sports this week, but you know what? That was the biggest one I saw, in my opinion. That was a big L.
Yeah, I heard about that too. Her name has definitely come up in the news quite a bit, as you mentioned. So I'm not surprised by this pick. It is definitely very unique compared to all of our others.
Oh yeah. All right, dude. Let's get into some trivia. You asked us about the NHL last week, didn't you?
Yes. All right. I want to see your knowledge. You're a relatively new hockey fan, right? So I want to see. Can you name the original six?
Well, obviously, I know one is the Detroit Red Wings.
That's one.
Obviously, the Chicago Blackhawks. I'm in Chicago. So.
Two.
I know it's one of the New York teams.
Yep.
No, it can't be the Island. It's got to be the Rangers,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Are the Boston Bruins one of them? I feel like they're historic.
Yep. Two more.
The Canadians?
Yep. One more.
No, not the Avalanche.
Canadian team.
The Maple Leafs.
There you go. You got all six. I'm impressed. That was a good job.
Oh my gosh, yeah. See, it's like when I look at the standings, I can tell who's the original six, but off the top of my head, I'm just like, who because I'm not used to
Yeah.
a group of teams being on such an upper echelon.
Yeah. And if you think about it, those teams make sense where they're located at. If you think back into the time period, the early 1900s, obviously the two probably biggest Canadian cities at the time, Toronto, Montreal especially. But then you think of, migrations and, immigrations to the U.S. You think of New York. You think of Massachusetts. Massachusetts is one of the, more famous states in the United States. And then obviously westward, obviously Detroit, Chicago. So all of the cities really, really make sense.
Yeah, I figured it wouldn't be like all the way California.
No, yeah,
Alberta,
exactly.
Yeah, so I figured there would be no California teams involved. But that was a test of my knowledge.
There you go.
But time for my trivia question, and this is related to college basketball. So I got to ask, what is the record for most teams in an NCAA tournament for a single conference?
All right. Hey, I already said 8 for the overtime, games. I'm going to go ahead and say 8 again. That's my favorite number. I'm just going to say 8 because I have no clue. 8 it is.
Okay, 8. Oh man, yeah, that's a question that I was really wanted to ask for a while now, because it's like we already know the mayhem behind the Big Ten and the Big 12. So I mean, it's a mystery. I mean, who knows? The record could be broken.
It could.
The record could be broken
this year. Who knows? I mean, I predict. My trivia question was: remember the Red Wings? When was the last time a goalie other than Jonathan Bernier won a game? 2 hours later, after recording this, the streak was broken. So who knows? Maybe this trivia question will, lead into some records being broken.
Yeah. Well, I mean, only time can tell, right?
Yeah.
And lack of Corona, of course.
There you go. That too.
But yeah, we'll just wish that away. But yeah, dude, we talked about a lot today. Obviously, I mean, we're approaching a near 1-year anniversary of the shutdown, as I like to call it, and just being able to start back up, it's looking promising, man. I'm happy.
Oh yeah, me too. Definitely. Hopefully, good is on the way. I hope so. I think everyone should hope good is on the way. But hey, Jonathan. Same time next week?
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. Obviously, end of February. Let's get into March.
Yes.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. If you guys enjoy Top of the Standings, give us that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or whatever streaming device you're using to listen to Top of the Standings. Give us a like, comment, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and then give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, the Big 3. Oh, and we also got ourselves a new website.
Yes, we did.
Top of the Standings, right?
Yeah. At WordPress.com, I believe. We'll leave a link in the description for sure.
Yeah, we also got a new website. Your boys are booming, fans. We got you. This has been Top of the Standings, episode 29. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.